Welcome, weary soul. If you're listening tonight, I know something brought you here. Perhaps you're feeling weak, overwhelmed, like you're running on empty, with nothing left to give. Maybe the weight of your circumstances has drained every ounce of strength from your spirit, and you're wondering how you'll face another day. You've come to the right place. Tonight, we're going to rest in some of the most powerful promises of strength that God has ever spoken, words from the prophet Isaiah that have sustained believers for thousands of years. These aren't just beautiful verses, they're lifelines for exhausted hearts like yours. As we journey together through these sacred words, expect to feel God's presence drawing near. Expect your spirit to find the rest it's been craving. Let yourself sink into this time. Your burdens can wait. Your worries can pause. Right now, it's just you and the God who promises to be your strength. Take a deep breath in and slowly release it. Feel your body beginning to relax as you prepare to receive what your soul needs most. Father, we invite you into this sacred space. Speak strength into weary hearts tonight. Remind us that we are precious to you, worthy of your care, deserving of your rest. Meet us here, Lord. Amen. Maybe tonight you feel like you're at the end of yourself, like you've used up every ounce of strength you had, and there's nothing left in the tank. Your body is exhausted, your heart is heavy, and your spirit feels depleted. You're wondering how you'll find the energy to face what's coming tomorrow. Listen to what God spoke through Isaiah when his people felt exactly like you do right now. Isaiah 40-28, 2:9. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding surpasses all understanding. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. The everlasting God. Do you understand what that means for you tonight? While you're lying there feeling drained, feeling like you can't take another step, your God never grows tired. Never. Not for a single moment in all of eternity has he ever felt what you're feeling right now. He doesn't need to recharge his batteries or take a nap to recover his strength. And this same God, this inexhaustibly powerful creator of everything you see, he's looking at you in your weakness tonight and saying, I have strength to spare. Let me carry this for you. He doesn't see your exhaustion as a burden or an inconvenience. He sees it as an opportunity to show you what his strength can do through your weakness. You don't have to manufacture energy you don't have. You don't have to pretend to be stronger than you feel. Your weakness isn't a failure. It's the perfect environment for God's strength to shine. Perhaps you're feeling overwhelmed tonight, like the challenges in your life have grown too big, too complicated, too much for you to handle. The problems feel mountainous, and you feel so small in comparison. Isaiah understood this feeling. Listen to what God showed him. Isaiah 40:10-11. See, the sovereign Lord comes with power, and he rules with a mighty arm. See, his reward is with him, and his recompense accompanies him. He tends his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lambs in his arms and carries them close to his heart. He gently leads those that have young. Sovereign Lord. That means he has ultimate authority over everything that's overwhelming you right now. Every circumstance that feels out of control, it's under his control. Every problem that seems too big for you, it's not too big for him. He comes with power, not just a little power, not just enough power to get by, but overwhelming, abundant, more than sufficient power. But notice what he does with all that power. He doesn't just stand at a distance and flex his muscles. He becomes a shepherd. He gathers you, yes, you, in his arms, close to his heart. The God of infinite power holds you tenderly, personally, intimately. When you're carrying the weight of caring for others, your family, your responsibilities, he sees that too. He gently leads those that have young. Your burdens become his burdens. Your responsibilities become his concern. You're not alone in this. Maybe tonight you're feeling afraid. The future looks uncertain, and you're not sure you have what it takes to face what might be coming. Fear has a way of making us feel so powerless, doesn't it? It whispers that we're not strong enough, not prepared enough, not equipped for what lies ahead. But God spoke directly to this fear through Isaiah. Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Do not fear, not because there's nothing to be afraid of, but because of WHO is with you. I am with you. Present tense. Right now, as Brom. You're listening to these words. As your heart is beating, as you're breathing, he is with you. Not watching from a distance, not planning to show up later when things get really bad. With you, now. I am your God. Not just a God, not just a higher power, but your God. He has chosen to be personally invested in your story. Your struggles are his concern. Your need for strength is his opportunity to show you his faithfulness. I will strengthen you, future tense, because he knows you're going to need strength tomorrow, and next week, and next month. This isn't a one-time gift. It's a promise of ongoing, renewable, fresh strength for every moment you'll face. And he doesn't just give you strength, he upholds you with his righteous right hand. Picture that for a moment. The same hand that spoke galaxies into existence, that parted seas and moved mountains, that hand is holding you up. You're not just relying on your own willpower or determination. You're being held by divine strength. Perhaps you feel forgotten tonight, like you've been struggling for so long that maybe God has moved on to help other people with more important problems. Maybe you feel like your need for strength isn't significant enough to capture his attention. Listen to what Isaiah discovered about God's heart. Isaiah 49:15. 1:6. Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has borne? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are ever before me. A mother's love for her nursing child. That's considered one of the strongest, most instinctive bonds in all of creation. Yet God says even if that bond could somehow be broken, his love for you never could be. You are engraved on his hands, permanently etched. Every time he looks at his hands, he thinks of you. Your walls, your defenses, your struggles, your need for protection, they are ever before him. That means constantly on his mind. He never stops thinking about what you need. Your need for strength isn't bothering him or taxing his resources. It's the very reason he loves to show his power. Maybe you're exhausted from trying so hard, from carrying responsibilities that feel too heavy. You've been in survival mode for so long that you can't remember what it feels like to truly rest. God sees that struggle, and he offers something beautiful. Isaiah 40:31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Those who hope in the Lord, not those who are perfect, not those who have it all figured out, but those who place their hope in him. Hope is simply turning toward God and saying, I'm trusting you to be my strength because I don't have any left. Will renew their strength, not just receive strength, but renew it, like a subscription that never expires, like a well that never runs dry. Every morning, fresh strength. Every moment you need it, strength available. Soaring like eagles. That's not just surviving, that's thriving. Running without growing weary, that's endurance beyond your natural capacity. Walking without fainting, that's steady, sustainable strength for the long journey. This isn't just poetic language. This is a promise. God is telling you that His strength in your life can transform exhaustion into energy, weariness into wings, fear into fearlessness. Tonight, as you rest, let these truths sink deep into your spirit. You are held by everlasting arms. You are strengthened by unlimited power. You are loved with unbreakable love. Your weakness is not a disqualification. It's an invitation to experience God's strength in ways you never imagined possible. Your body feels heavy tonight, doesn't it? Every movement requires effort you don't have. Maybe you've been pushing through on sheer willpower for weeks or months, and now that willpower is gone. Your muscles ache, your mind feels foggy, and even simple tasks feel overwhelming. The exhaustion isn't just physical, it's soul deep, the kind that sleep doesn't seem to touch. You might be wondering if this is what the rest of your life looks like, just trying to make it through each day with whatever scraps of energy you can muster. The thought is terrifying because you can already feel how little you have left. But God sees your physical exhaustion, and He spoke directly to it through Isaiah. Isaiah 40-29. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Notice what God doesn't say. He doesn't say He gives strength to the strong or He helps those who help themselves. He specifically targets the weary. That's you tonight. The weak. That's exactly where you are. Your physical exhaustion isn't a barrier to receiving His strength. It's the very condition that qualifies you for it. Increases the power of the weak. This means your weakness isn't just replaced with strength, it's actually amplified beyond what you could produce on your own. God doesn't just bring you back to baseline, He takes your empty tank and fills it beyond capacity. Your body may be tired, but His strength can flow through tired muscles, exhausted minds, depleted spirits. You don't need to wait until you feel better to access God's strength. You can draw on it right now, in your weariness. His power is most perfectly displayed through your weakness. Maybe your struggle tonight is with your mind. The thoughts won't stop racing. Anxiety about tomorrow, regret about yesterday, worry about things you can't control. Your brain feels like it's running at full speed with no off switch, and you're mentally exhausted from trying to solve problems that may never have solutions. You lie awake, calculating, planning, catastrophizing. What if this happens? What if that goes wrong? How will I handle this situation? Where will I find the strength to deal with that crisis? Your mind has become your own worst enemy, stealing your peace and robbing you of rest. The mental fatigue is real. Trying to figure everything out, trying to stay 2 steps ahead of disaster, trying to be strong for everyone who depends on you, it's exhausting your mind in ways that physical labor never could. Isaiah knew about this kind of mental torment, and God gave him a promise that speaks directly to your racing thoughts. Isaiah 26-3. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast on you, because they trust in you. Perfect peace, not partial peace, not occasional peace, but perfect, complete, unshakable peace. And notice the condition, whose minds are steadfast on you. Not those who have perfect circumstances or easy lives, but those who fix their thoughts on God rather than on their problems. Your mind has been trying so hard to solve everything, to anticipate every problem, to be strong enough to handle whatever comes. But God is saying, stop trying to figure it all out. Turn your mental energy toward me instead, because they trust in you. Trust isn't the absence of problems. It's the decision to believe that God is bigger than your problems. When your mind starts spinning with worst-case scenarios, you can choose to redirect those thoughts toward God's character, God's promises, God's proven faithfulness. This doesn't mean pretending your problems don't exist. It means changing the focus from, how will I handle this, to how will God handle this through me? The responsibility shifts from your shoulders to His. Perhaps your struggle is emotional tonight. Your heart feels bruised and tender. Maybe you've been disappointed again and again, and you're starting to wonder if you're strong enough to keep hoping, keep trusting, keep believing that things can get better. The emotional pain feels heavier than any physical burden you've ever carried. You might feel like you're barely holding it together, like one more disappointment or setback would completely break you. Your emotions feel raw and unstable, and you're tired of feeling so vulnerable, so fragile. The emotional exhaustion is different from physical tiredness. It's deeper, more personal. It makes you question your own resilience, your own capacity to endure. You wonder if other people are naturally stronger than you, if you're just not built for the challenges life keeps throwing your way. God sees your tender heart, and through Isaiah, he offers something beautiful. Isaiah 61:3, to provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. God doesn't minimize your grief or rush you through your pain. He acknowledges that you're in ashes. That's a picture of complete devastation. He sees that you're in mourning, that you're experiencing despair. He doesn't tell you to snap out of it or cheer up. Instead, he promises transformation, a crown of beauty instead of ashes. He takes the devastated areas of your life and creates something beautiful from them. Not alongside them, but from them. Your pain becomes the raw material for his artistry, the oil of joy instead of mourning. Oil in ancient times was used for healing and anointing. God's joy isn't just happiness. It's a deep, healing presence that soothes emotional wounds and restores hope. It doesn't erase the memory of pain, but it infuses meaning and purpose into your suffering. A garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. When you're emotionally exhausted, praise feels impossible. But God provides it like a garment, something you put on, not something you manufacture. You don't have to feel praising to wear the garment of praise he offers. Maybe your struggle is relational tonight. The people you've depended on have let you down, and you feel isolated in your need for strength. Perhaps you've been the strong one for everyone else for so long that you don't even know how to ask for help. Or maybe you've asked and been disappointed by the response. You're tired of carrying everyone else's burdens while your own needs go unmet. You love the people in your life, but you're starting to feel resentful that the support seems to flow only one direction. You need someone to be strong for you, but there's no one available or capable. The loneliness in your struggle makes everything harder. It would be easier to be weak if you weren't weak alone, but it feels like you're fighting battles that no one else can see or understand, carrying weights that no one else offers to share. God sees this isolation, and he makes an incredible promise through Isaiah 63:9. In all their distress he too was distressed, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and mercy he redeemed them. He lifted them up and carried them all the days of old. In all their distress he too was distressed. Your pain. He doesn't leave God unmoved. He doesn't watch your struggle from a comfortable distance. When you hurt, he hurts. When you feel weak, he feels the weight of your weakness. You're not suffering alone because God is suffering with you. The angel of his presence saved them. Not just his power, but his presence. He doesn't just send help. He comes himself. In your loneliness, in your need for someone to be strong for you, God shows up personally. His presence becomes your strength. He lifted them up and carried them. When you're too weak to carry your own burdens, God doesn't just give you advice or encouragement. He picks you up and carries both you and your burdens. You don't have to be strong enough to walk. You just have to be willing to be carried. All the days of old, this wasn't a one-time rescue. God carried his people consistently, daily, faithfully. Your need for strength isn't wearing out, his patience or exhausting his willingness to help. He's committed to carrying you for as long as you need to be carried. Perhaps your struggle tonight is spiritual. You feel disconnected from God, uncertain whether He really cares about your specific struggles. Maybe you've been praying for strength and haven't felt any different. You wonder if your faith is too weak, if you're doing something wrong, if God has somehow overlooked your need. The spiritual drought feels especially cruel when you need God's strength the most. You want to trust, you want to believe, but your heart feels numb and your prayers feel like they're bouncing off the ceiling. You're worried that your weakness has disqualified you from receiving God's help. You might even feel guilty for being weak, like stronger faith should have prevented whatever brought you to this place of exhaustion. You're not just tired, you're tired of being tired, and you're starting to wonder if this is what trust in God is supposed to feel like. But God addresses this spiritual struggle with tender understanding through Isaiah. Isaiah 42:3. A bruised reed He will not break, and a smouldering wick He will not snuff out. You feel like a bruised reed tonight, bent, damaged, barely holding together. A smouldering wick, not burning brightly anymore, just barely flickering with the weakest little flame. And what does God do with bruised reeds and smouldering wicks? Most people would throw them away and get new ones, but not God. He protects what's fragile. He nurtures what's weak. He doesn't break what's already damaged. He carefully tends it until it's whole again. He doesn't snuff out the weak flame. He gently breathes on it until it burns bright again. Your spiritual weakness isn't a disappointment to God. Your struggling faith isn't testing His patience. Your inability to pray eloquently or feel overwhelming gratitude isn't disqualifying you from His care. He sees the faintest flicker of faith in your heart, and He's protecting it, nurturing it, breathing strength into it. You don't need strong faith to receive God's strength. You just need faith, even weak, flickering, barely hanging on faith. God can work with the smallest spark of trust. Tonight, let yourself rest in this truth. Your struggles are seen, your weakness is understood, and your need for strength has captured the attention of the God who promises never to break what's already bruised, never to extinguish what's barely burning. He meets you exactly where you are, not where you think you should be. You're wondering if you'll ever feel strong again, aren't you? If this season of weakness will ever end, if you'll ever have energy and hope and confidence like you used to. The future looks uncertain, and you're not sure you have what it takes to face whatever is coming next. But listen to this promise. God made, not to someone else, but to you. Isaiah 40:31. En Hevri Flau. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Will renew their strength. Not might renew, not could possibly renew if conditions are perfect. Will. This is a guaranteed outcome for those who place their hope in God. Your current weakness is not your permanent condition. Renewal is coming. What does this mean for you tonight? It means the exhaustion you feel right now is not your new normal. The struggle to get through each day is not your destiny. God is promising that your strength will be renewed, not just restored to what it was before, but renewed, made new, fresh, stronger than it was even before you got weak. They will soar on wings like eagles. Picture that for your life. Eagles don't just survive. They soar effortlessly on air currents, rising higher than the storms below. God is promising that you won't just make it through your current struggles, you'll rise above them. You'll gain perspective that transforms how you see your challenges. You'll find yourself lifted by God's strength to heights you never thought possible. They will run and not grow weary. Running requires sustained energy, endurance, momentum. God is promising that there's coming a time when you'll have not just enough energy to survive, but enough to run, to pursue dreams, to chase after the things that matter, to move forward with confidence and vigor. They will walk and not be faint. Even the simple act of walking through daily life won't drain you anymore. The basic responsibilities that feel overwhelming right now will become manageable again. You'll have steady, reliable strength for ordinary moments. This promise is for you, not because you've earned it, but because you've placed your hope in the one who never runs out of strength to give. Maybe you feel like life has become chaotic and you can't find God's purpose in your pain. Everything feels random and overwhelming, and you're wondering if God has a plan that includes your current struggle, or if you're just a victim of unfortunate circumstances. Listen to this promise that changes everything. Isaiah 46, 10-11. I make known the end from the beginning, from ancient times, what is still to come. I say, my purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please. From the east I summon a bird of prey, from a far-off land, a man to fulfill my purpose. What I have said, that I will bring about, what I have planned, that I will do. I make known the end from the beginning. God sees your whole story, not just where you are tonight, but where this journey is leading. What feels chaotic to you is completely clear to Him. He knows how this chapter of weakness will end, and He's not worried about it because He can see the strength and purpose and beauty that's coming. My purpose will stand. Your current struggles are not derailing God's plan for your life. They're part of it. What you're experiencing tonight is not plan B or a detour. It's woven into the very purpose God has for you. Your weakness is not wasting time in your story. It's developing character and depth that wouldn't exist without it. What does this mean for you? It means your pain has purpose. Your struggle is not random suffering. It's purposeful development. God is using this season of weakness to accomplish something in your life that could only happen through weakness. The strength you'll receive on the other side of this will be different and deeper because of what you're walking through now. What I have planned, that I will do. God's plan to strengthen you will not be thwarted by your circumstances, your mistakes, or your feelings. His purpose for your life will stand regardless of how weak you feel tonight. He will accomplish what He has planned for you, and part of that plan includes your restoration. You feel like you're drowning tonight, don't you? Like the waves of your circumstances are crashing over you faster than you can recover from each one. Every time you think you're getting your head above water, another wave hits and you're struggling to breathe again. The weight of your responsibilities, your relationships, your challenges, it all feels like it's pulling you under. You're not sure how much longer you can keep fighting to stay afloat, but God made a promise for moments exactly like this. Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep you over. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned, the flames will not set you ablaze. When you pass through the waters, not if, when. God knows you're going to face overwhelming circumstances. This promise wasn't made for people who never struggle. It was made for people who find themselves in deep waters, exactly where you are tonight. I will be with you. Not I will rescue you from a distance. Not I will send help eventually. I will be with you, in the water, in the struggle, in the feeling of drowning. God doesn't promise to keep you out of deep waters, but He promises to be in the deep waters with you. What does this mean for you? It means you're not drowning alone. Every wave that hits you also hits God. Every moment you feel like you can't breathe, God is breathing for you. You may feel like you're going under, but you're being held by the one who controls the waters. They will not sweep you over. The circumstances that feel like they're overwhelming you will not ultimately defeat you. They may knock you down, they may exhaust you, they may scare you, but they will not destroy you. God's strength in your life is greater than the force of any wave that crashes against you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The trials that feel like they're consuming everything in your life will not consume you. You may feel the heat, you may sweat and struggle and fear, but the core of who you are, the purpose God has for your life, will emerge unburned. The fire will purify you, not destroy you. This promise means that your current, overwhelming circumstances have an expiration date. You will pass through them. They will not become your permanent address. And when you emerge on the other side, you'll be stronger because of what you've survived. Let me share another promise from Isaiah that speaks directly to your need for daily strength. Isaiah 33:2. Lord, be gracious to us. We long for you. Be our strength every morning, our salvation in time of distress. Be our strength every morning. Not just strength for major crises, but strength for ordinary mornings. Strength to get out of bed when you don't want to. Strength to face another day when yesterday depleted you. Strength for the small acts of courage that no one else sees but God notices. Our salvation in time of distress. When distress comes, and Isaiah acknowledges that it will come, God doesn't just offer comfort or sympathy. He offers salvation, APP, complete deliverance, total rescue, absolute victory over whatever is causing your distress. What does this mean for you? It means you can wake up tomorrow expecting fresh strength, not leftover strength from yesterday, not recycled energy from last week, but new, personalized, perfectly suited to your needs strength that God prepares fresh every morning. Your distress tonight is temporary because your salvation is certain. The weakness you feel is not your identity, it's your current experience, and God's strength is already being prepared for your tomorrow. Isaiah also promises something beautiful about God's response to your prayers for strength. Isaiah 58:9. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. You will cry for help, and he will say, Here am I. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. Your prayers for strength are not going unheard. They're not disappearing into silence. God hears every desperate whisper, every weary sigh, every silent plea for help, and he responds, You will cry for help, and he will say, Here am I. Picture this moment. You cry out in your weakness, and immediately God says, Here am I. Not, I'm coming eventually, or I'll get to you when I can. Here am I, present tense, already with you, already responding. This means that when you've been crying for strength, God has already said, Here am I to your need. His presence is the first installment of his strength in your life. Before the circumstances change, before you feel different, before anything external shifts, God's presence with you is already his strength at work. You're not waiting for God to show up. He's already here, already responding, already working to provide exactly what you need. Here's another powerful promise about the kind of strength God provides. Isaiah 35:3-4. Strengthen the feeble hands, steady the knees that give way. Say to those with fearful hearts, Be strong, do not fear. Your God will come. He will come with vengeance. With divine retribution he will come to save you. Strengthen the feeble hands, your hands that feel too weak to work, to serve, to accomplish what needs to be done, that God promises to strengthen them. Not replace them, not do the work for you, but strengthen your own hands so you can function again. Steady the knees that give way. When you feel like you can't stand up under the weight of your responsibilities, God promises to steady your knees, to give you the foundation you need to remain upright, to keep moving forward. Say to those with fearful hearts, Be strong, do not fear. God doesn't minimize your fears or pretend they're not real, but he gives you a stronger reality to focus on. His promise to be your strength in the midst of whatever you fear. Your God will come. He will come to save you. God doesn't send salvation from a distance. He comes personally to rescue you. The strength you need isn't a package delivered to your door. It's God himself arriving to be your strength. What does this mean for you tonight? It means the weakness in your hands will be replaced with strength. The shaking in your knees will be replaced with steadiness. The fear in your heart will be replaced with courage, not because you get stronger, but because God comes to be your strength. Isaiah gives us another beautiful picture of God's strengthening process. Isaiah 27:5, "Or else let them come to me for refuge. Let them make peace with me, yes, let them make peace with me. Let them come to me for refuge." God doesn't require you to get strong before you approach Him. He invites you to come to Him for refuge while you're still weak. Your weakness is not a barrier to God's presence. It's an invitation to His refuge. Let them make peace with me. This isn't about ending a war between you and God. This is about making peace with being weak enough to need God's strength. It's about surrendering the struggle to be self-sufficient and finding peace in dependence on His power. Making peace with God includes making peace with your own limitations, your own need for help, your own inability to be strong enough for everything life throws at you. That peace becomes the foundation for receiving His strength. And here's a promise about the transformation God works through weakness. Isaiah 61:7. "Instead of your shame you will receive a double portion, and instead of disgrace you will rejoice in your inheritance. And so you will inherit a double portion in your land, and everlasting joy will be yours." Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion. The shame you feel about being weak, about needing help, about not being strong enough, God promises to replace that shame with abundance. Not just enough strength, but double portion strength. Instead of disgrace, you will rejoice in your inheritance. What feels like failure or inadequacy will be transformed into celebration. Your inheritance as God's child includes His strength, His power, His ability to accomplish through you what you could never accomplish alone. Everlasting joy will be yours. The depression and discouragement that often accompany weakness will be replaced with joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. Joy that lasts through difficulties because it's rooted in God's unchanging love and faithfulness. This means your current struggle with weakness is not the end of your story, it's the middle. The end includes double portion, rejoicing, and everlasting joy. God is working to transform your weakness into a testimony of His strength that will bring you more joy than you've ever known. Let me share one more profound promise from Isaiah about God's intimate knowledge of your struggle. Isaiah 49:13, Rizalk. "Shout for joy, you heavens, rejoice, you earth, burst into song, you mountains. For the Lord comforts His afflicted, and will have compassion on His suffering ones." The Lord comforts His afflicted. You are not just struggling, you are afflicted, which means your pain matters to God. It's not insignificant or trivial. God sees your affliction as worthy of His personal comfort, will have compassion on His suffering ones. Compassion means God's heart moves with yours. When you hurt, He hurts. When you feel weak, He feels tender toward you. Your suffering activates His compassion, which activates His power to help. Shout for joy, you heavens, rejoice, you earth, burst into song, you mountains. Why does all of creation celebrate? Because God's compassion for suffering people is so beautiful, so perfect, so powerful that it makes the heavens shout and the mountains sing. Your need for strength is not a burden to God. It's an opportunity for Him to display the kind of compassion that makes all creation rejoice. When God strengthens you, heaven celebrates because they get to witness His perfect love in action. Tonight, as these promises settle into your heart, know that they represent just a glimpse of God's commitment to your strength and wholeness. Isaiah's prophecies span chapters and chapters, all pointing to the same truth. God's heart toward weak people is not frustration or disappointment, but tender, powerful love that moves heaven and earth to provide exactly what they need. Let me share one final cluster of promises from Isaiah that will anchor your soul in unshakable confidence. Isaiah 25-4 speaks to your experience tonight. You have been a refuge for the poor, a refuge for the needy in their distress, a shelter from the storm and a shade from the heat. But notice, this verse is written in past tense. You have been. God is looking at your future and speaking about the strength and refuge you will provide to others as if it has already happened. Your current weakness is being transformed into future strength, so certain that God speaks of it as accomplished fact, a refuge for the poor, for the needy in their distress. The compassion you're developing through your own need will make you a safe place for other struggling people. The understanding you're gaining of what it feels like to be weak will enable you to strengthen others with God's strength. A shelter from the storm and a shade from the heat. Your experience of God's protection during this difficult season is preparing you to be God's protection for others facing similar storms. The comfort you're receiving will multiply into comfort for many. What does this mean? Your weakness tonight has purpose beyond your own healing. God is preparing you to be His strength in other people's stories. The lessons you're learning about depending on God's power will become wisdom you share with others who feel powerless. And here's Isaiah's beautiful description of what God's strength looks like when it's fully released in a person's life. Isaiah 35:1-2. The desert and the parched land will be glad. The wilderness will rejoice and blossom. Like the crocus, it will burst into bloom. It will rejoice greatly and shout for joy. The desert and the parched land will be glad. The dry, barren areas of your life, Ephelmans, the places where you feel depleted, unfruitful, empty, these are exactly the places where God's strength will bring transformation. What feels like spiritual desert now will become a place of gladness. The wilderness will rejoice and blossom. Wilderness represents the confusing, difficult seasons where you feel lost and overwhelmed. God's promise is that these very seasons will become sources of joy and beauty. Your wilderness will blossom. Like the crocus, it will burst into bloom. Crocuses push through snow to bloom. They find strength to grow in the harshest conditions. God's strength in your life will be like this, breaking through the harsh conditions of your circumstances to create unexpected beauty. It will rejoice greatly and shout for joy. The transformation will be so dramatic, so beautiful, so obviously divine, that it will generate rejoicing and shouting. Your story of God's strength overcoming your weakness will become a celebration that inspires others. This is the future God sees when He looks at your current weakness. Not permanent desert, but blooming gardens. Not endless wilderness, but rejoicing and celebration. Not chronic weakness, but strength so evident that it makes people shout for joy. Isaiah 40:4-5 gives us another picture of the transformation God works through difficulty. Every valley shall be raised up, every mountain and hill made low. The rough ground shall become level, the rugged places a plain, and the glory of the Lord will be revealed, and all people will see it together. Every valley shall be raised up, the low places in your life, depression, discouragement, despair, will be lifted up by God's strength. What feels like a valley of shadows now will be raised to new heights of hope and confidence. Every mountain and hill made low. The obstacles that seem insurmountable now will be made manageable by God's power. Problems that tower over you like mountains will be brought down to size. The rough ground shall become level. The bumpy, difficult path you're walking will be smoothed by God's intervention. The journey that feels impossible now will become walkable, even comfortable. The rugged places, a plain. Areas of your life that feel treacherous and dangerous will become safe and peaceful. Where you feel like you're climbing dangerous cliffs now, you'll find yourself walking on level ground, and the glory of the Lord will be revealed. All of this transformation will make God's glory visible. People will look at your life and see undeniable evidence of divine intervention. Your weakness becoming strength will be such an obvious miracle that it will point others to God. All people will see it together. Your personal story of God's strength will become a testimony that encourages many. The private struggle you're experiencing tonight will become public evidence of God's faithfulness. This means your current difficulties are not just personal trials, they're the raw material God is using to create a testimony that will strengthen many people's faith. Your weakness is being transformed into a witness of God's power. Isaiah 42-16 provides one more beautiful promise about God's guidance through weakness. I will lead the blind by ways they have not known. Along unfamiliar paths I will guide them. I will turn the darkness before them into light, the rough places into level ground. I will lead the blind by ways they have not known. When you can't see clearly what to do next, when the path forward is unclear, God promises to lead you personally. You don't have to figure out the way, you just have to follow His leading. Along unfamiliar paths I will guide them. God might not take you through familiar territory, but He promises to guide you through whatever path you need to walk. The unfamiliarity isn't abandonment, it's adventure with a faithful guide. I will turn the darkness before them into light. The confusion and uncertainty you're experiencing will give way to clarity. What feels dark and frightening now will be illuminated by God's wisdom and presence. The rough places into level ground, the parts of your journey that feel difficult and treacherous will be smoothed by God's intervention. Where you're stumbling now, you'll walk confidently later. This promise means you don't have to have everything figured out to move forward. God will provide clarity, guidance, and smoother paths as you need them. Your current disorientation is temporary. Divine guidance is already at work in your situation. As we approach the end of our time together tonight, let me leave you with Isaiah's most comprehensive promise about God's strength in human weakness. It comes from Isaiah 40-33:1, and it perfectly captures everything we've explored together. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Even youths grow tired and weary. The strongest, most energetic people eventually reach the end of their strength. Your weakness doesn't mean you're defective or insufficient. It means you're human, and all humans have limits. Young men stumble and fall. Even people in their prime, at peak performance, experience failure and weakness. Your struggles don't set you apart as unusually weak. They connect you to the universal human experience of needing strength beyond ourselves. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. The word "but" marks the great contrast. While human strength inevitably fails, divine strength never does. And the key to accessing it is not great faith or perfect obedience, but simple hope placed in God. Will renew their strength. Not just receive strength, but renew it. This implies ongoing, repeated, continuous refreshing. God's strength in your life isn't a one-time gift that gets used up. It's a renewable resource that never expires. They will soar on wings like eagles. Eagles don't just fly, they soar. They catch wind currents and ride them effortlessly to great heights. God's strength won't just get you through. It will lift you above your circumstances, give you perspective, help you see from His point of view. They will run and not grow weary. Running represents sustained effort, pursuit of goals, forward momentum. God's strength will give you endurance for the marathon of life, not just the sprints of crisis. They will walk and not be faint. Even ordinary daily activities will be sustainable. The basic requirements of life won't exhaust you anymore. You'll have steady, reliable strength for normal days as well as difficult ones. This is God's vision for your life. Not just survival, but soaring. Not just endurance, but energy. Not just getting by, but thriving. Your current weakness is not your final destination. It's your launching pad into a dimension of divine strength you've never experienced before. As you prepare for sleep tonight, carry with you this truth from Isaiah 26:12. Lord, you establish peace for us. All that we have accomplished you have done for us. Every moment you've survived, every challenge you've overcome, every day you've made it through, it was God's strength accomplishing these things through you, even when you thought you were doing it alone. You establish peace for us, the peace you need for sleep, for rest, for release from the anxiety about tomorrow's challenges. God establishes this peace. It's not something you manufacture through positive thinking or willpower. It's something God creates and gives to you. All that we have accomplished you have done for us. Look back over your life and see God's strength woven through every victory, every moment of endurance, every time you found courage when you thought you had none. You were never as alone as you thought. His strength was always there. This perspective changes everything about your current weakness. You're not starting from scratch, hoping God might help you. You're continuing a lifelong relationship with the God who has been your strength since birth, who will be your strength tonight as you sleep, and who will be your strength when you wake tomorrow morning. The verses from Isaiah we've explored tonight are not just promises for the future. They're descriptions of the strength that's already available to you right now. The God who spoke these words thousands of years ago is the same God who whispers them over your heart tonight. I am with you. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will hold you up. Rest in this truth, beloved. You are held by everlasting arms, loved with unfailing love, and strengthened by inexhaustible power. Your weakness tonight is not a burden to God. It's an invitation for Him to show you dimensions of His strength you've never experienced before. Sleep well, knowing that you are watched over by the One who never slumbers, carried by the One whose strength never fails, and loved by the One whose compassion never ends. Tomorrow's strength is already prepared. Tonight's rest is already provided. You are safe to let go completely and trust in the God who calls you His beloved child. Sweet dreams, precious one. You are stronger than you know because you are held by the strongest one of all. Perhaps you feel like you've been battling for so long that you don't remember what victory feels like. You're tired of fighting the same struggles, facing the same challenges, dealing with the same sources of exhaustion. You wonder if you'll ever get a break, ever experience the joy of overcoming instead of just surviving. Listen to this powerful promise. Isaiah 54:17. Isaiah, no weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord. No weapon forged against you will prevail. Every attack on your peace, every assault on your strength, every attempt to discourage or defeat you, none of them will ultimately succeed. They may cause temporary damage, they may make you stumble, but they will not prevail against you. You will refute every tongue that accuses you. The voices that tell you you're not strong enough, not good enough, not capable enough. You will have the strength to answer those accusations with truth. The lies that have been spoken over your life will be silenced by God's truth about who you are. What does this mean for you tonight? It means you're not just barely hanging on, you're actually winning. Every day you don't give up is a victory. Every night you choose to trust God's promises instead of surrendering to despair is you refuting the weapons formed against you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Victory isn't something you have to earn or achieve. It's your inheritance as God's child. Overcoming isn't a reward for being strong. It's a gift that comes with belonging to God. You don't prevail because you're powerful. You prevail because God is powerful and you're His. Maybe you feel like God's promises are for other people, people who are more faithful, more deserving, more spiritual than you feel tonight. You look at your weakness and wonder if you've disqualified yourself from receiving God's best. But listen to this incredible promise. Isaiah 55:10-11, as the rain and the snow come down from heaven, and do not return to it without watering the earth and making it bud and flourish, so that it yields seed for the sower and bread for the eater, so is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. God's promises are like rain and snow. They don't depend on the condition of the ground they fall on. Rain falls on hard soil and soft soil, on weedy gardens and well-tended fields. It accomplishes its purpose regardless of what it finds when it arrives. So is my word that goes out from my mouth. Every promise God has spoken over your life has the same certainty as the natural laws that govern rain and snow. His word about your strength, your future, your purpose, it carries the same reliability as gravity and seasonal cycles. It will not return to me empty. God's promises to you will not fail. They're not conditional on your performance or your feelings or your circumstances. They will accomplish what God desires in your life because they carry His power, not yours. What does this mean? It means every promise you're hearing tonight will take root in your life and bear fruit in God's timing. Your weakness cannot stop God's word from accomplishing its purpose in your story. Your struggles cannot prevent His promises from coming to pass. Will accomplish what I desire and achieve, the purpose for which I sent it. God's desire for you is strength, wholeness, hope, purpose, joy. His promises aren't sent to mock you or to give you false hope. They're sent to accomplish exactly what you need most in your life. Tonight, as these promises sink into your heart, know that they're not just beautiful words, they're divine commitments. God has bound Himself to fulfill every one of them in your life. Your part is simply to receive them, like earth receiving rain, trusting that they will accomplish everything God intends for your story. I know it's hard to have faith right now. When you're this exhausted, when you've been struggling for so long, believing feels like one more thing you don't have energy for. You want to trust God's promises about strength, but your heart feels numb and your faith feels weak, and you're wondering if that disqualifies you from receiving what you need. Maybe you feel like other people have stronger faith, like they're naturally better at trusting God than you are. You look at your doubts and fears and think they're evidence that your faith isn't good enough to move God's heart. But listen to what Jesus encountered, people, and how He responded. Mark 9:24. Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, "I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief." Do you hear that? Belief and unbelief in the same breath. Faith and doubt occupying the same heart at the same moment. And Jesus didn't rebuke this man for his mixed-up faith. He didn't tell him to come back when he believed more strongly. Jesus honored that honest, imperfect cry and performed the miracle the man needed. Your struggling faith isn't a disappointment to God. Your doubts about whether He'll really give you strength aren't disqualifying you from His help. God doesn't require perfect faith. He requires honest faith. He doesn't need your belief to be strong. He needs it to be real. Help me overcome my unbelief. That's a prayer God loves to answer. When you're honest about your doubts, when you admit that you want to trust but you're having trouble, that vulnerability actually opens the door for God to strengthen your faith. What does this mean for you tonight? It means your weak faith is still faith. Your struggling belief is still belief. God can work with the faintest flicker of trust. You don't have to manufacture stronger faith before you can receive His strength. You can ask for both at the same time. Maybe you feel like you need to see evidence before you can really believe that God will strengthen you. You've been disappointed before, and you're hesitant to get your hopes up again. It seems like faith would be easier if you could just see a sign, feel a change, Have some tangible proof that God is really going to help. This isn't a character flaw. It's deeply human to want assurance when you're afraid. But listen to what God says about faith. Isaiah 7-9. If you do not stand firm in your faith, you will not stand at all. This isn't a threat. It's practical wisdom. Faith isn't just nice religious sentiment. It's the foundation that keeps you stable when everything else is shaking. When your circumstances are overwhelming and your strength is depleted, faith becomes the ground you stand on. Stand firm in your faith doesn't mean having perfect confidence with no questions or fears. It means choosing to anchor yourself to God's character and God's promises, even when you can't see how they'll be fulfilled. But notice what this verse implies. You can stand. Even when you feel weak, even when you feel like you're about to collapse, faith gives you a place to plant your feet and remain upright. What does this mean for you? It means you don't need to see God's strength before you believe He'll provide it. Faith is choosing to believe you will stand even when you feel like you're falling. It's trusting that God's promises are true, even when your circumstances seem to contradict them. This doesn't mean pretending everything is fine or denying your real struggles. It means anchoring your hope to something more solid than your current feelings or circumstances. Perhaps you feel like your faith has been shaken by your current struggles. You used to believe more easily, trust more readily, but this season of weakness has left you questioning things you thought you were sure about. You're wondering if going through hard times means your faith was never as strong as you thought. But consider what God says about faith that's been tested. Isaiah 28-16. So this is what the sovereign Lord says. See, I lay a stone in Zion, a tested stone, a precious cornerstone for a sure foundation. The one who relies on it will never be stricken with panic. A tested stone. The most valuable stones are the ones that have been subjected to pressure and heat and time. God doesn't use untested materials to build His kingdom. He uses faith that has been through trials and proven itself genuine. You're struggling. Faith isn't weaker than it used to be. It's being strengthened through testing. The doubts you're wrestling with aren't signs that your faith is failing. They're evidence that your faith is being refined, purified, proven, genuine. The one who relies on it will never be stricken with panic. When your faith has been tested and proven, it becomes unshakable. Not because you never face difficulties, but because you've learned through experience that God's foundation holds even when everything else gives way. What does this mean for your current struggle? It means this season of questioning isn't destroying your faith, it's strengthening it. Every time you choose to trust God despite your fears, every time you turn to Him despite your doubts, your faith becomes more solid, more reliable, more proven. The weakness you feel isn't evidence that your faith is insufficient. It's the environment where authentic, tested faith is developed. Maybe you feel like you don't know how to pray for strength anymore. You've asked so many times, and you're not sure God is listening or if you're praying the right way. Your prayers feel repetitive and desperate, and you wonder if there's some better way to approach God that might finally get His attention. Listen to what Isaiah discovered about prayer and God's response. Isaiah 65-24. Before they call, I will answer. While they are still speaking, I will hear. Before they call, I will answer. God isn't waiting for the perfect prayer to move His heart toward you. He's not evaluating your prayer technique or waiting for you to find the right words. He's already moving to answer your need for strength before you even finish asking for it. While they are still speaking, I will hear. God doesn't need to wait until you're done praying to understand what you need. He hears your heart before you find the words. He knows your desperate need for strength, and He's already responding to that need. This means your fumbling prayers, your repeated requests, your desperate pleas, they're not bothering God or testing His patience. He's already heard what you need, and He's already moving to provide it. What does this mean for you tonight? It means you don't have to pray perfectly to receive God's strength. You don't have to find new words or better arguments. Your honest, desperate, repetitive cries for help are exactly what God wants to hear because they reflect your genuine need and your authentic dependence on Him. God has already heard your prayer for strength, and He's already working to answer it in the best way and the best timing for your life. Perhaps you're wondering if God really has enough strength to share. You know He's powerful, but you also know there are millions of people who need His help, and you wonder if your need might be too small to capture His attention, or too large for Him to handle along with everything else. This kind of thinking makes sense from a human perspective. We all have limited resources and energy. But listen to what God says about His capacity. Isaiah 40-28. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the Creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and His understanding surpasses all understanding. The everlasting God. God's strength isn't diminished by use. It's not depleted when He helps other people. His power doesn't decrease when He gives it away. Every act of strength He performs in someone else's life actually demonstrates His ability to strengthen you too. He will not grow tired or weary. Helping you doesn't exhaust God's resources or tax His energy. Your need for strength isn't a burden to Him. It's an opportunity for Him to display His inexhaustible power. His understanding surpasses all understanding. God doesn't just have enough strength to help you. He has perfect understanding of exactly what kind of strength you need, when you need it, and how to provide it in the way that will help you most. What does this mean for you? It means you're not competing with other people for God's attention or resources. His strength is infinite. Your need for help doesn't diminish what's available for anyone else. God can give you everything you need without having less to offer to others. Your prayers for strength aren't selfish or excessive. They're invitations for God to show His unlimited power in your life. Maybe you feel like you've been waiting so long for strength that you're starting to wonder if it's ever coming. You've held on to faith as long as you can, but the delay is making you question whether God really intends to help you or if you've misunderstood His promises somehow. The waiting is its own kind of exhaustion, isn't it? It would almost be easier to give up hope than to keep believing when nothing seems to change. But listen to what God says about His timing. Isaiah 30-18, 2i. Yet the Lord longs to be gracious to you, therefore He will rise up to show you compassion. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for Him. The Lord longs to be gracious to you. Your current weakness isn't because God is reluctant to help you or because He's forgotten about you. He actually longs to show you grace, to give you strength, to demonstrate His compassion in your life. The desire to help you is already in His heart. Therefore He will rise up to show you compassion. The word therefore connects God's longing to help with His action to help. Because He wants to be gracious to you, He will act. His compassion isn't just feeling sorry for you, it's moving heaven and earth to help you. For the Lord is a God of justice. Sometimes, the delay in receiving what we need is because God is working behind the scenes to address injustices, to arrange circumstances, to prepare the best possible outcome for our situation. Blessed are all who wait for Him. Waiting isn't punishment or abandonment. It's positioning yourself to receive blessing. The strength that comes after waiting is often deeper, more sustaining, and more perfectly suited to your needs than what would have come earlier. What does this mean for your waiting? It means God's timing isn't delay for delay's sake. It's precision timing designed to give you exactly what you need when you need it most. Your faith during the waiting period isn't wasted. It's building the foundation for the strength you're about to receive. Tonight, let your faith, however weak it feels, be enough. God doesn't need your perfect trust. He needs your honest heart, your genuine dependence, your willingness to keep believing even when believing is hard. That's exactly the kind of faith He loves to strengthen. Your mind has been carrying so much tonight, hasn't it? Racing from one worry to the next, trying to solve problems that might never have solutions, rehearsing conversations that may never happen. Even now, as you're trying to rest, thoughts keep coming about tomorrow's responsibilities, about the strength you'll need, about how you'll manage it all. You're exhausted from thinking, from planning, from trying to stay ahead of everything that could go wrong. Your mind feels like it's running at full speed with no off switch, and you just want it to quiet down so you can finally rest. Jesus spoke about this kind of mental exhaustion. Matthew 11:28-30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Come to me. Not to a strategy or a technique or a solution you have to figure out. Come to Jesus. Bring your racing thoughts, your endless worries, your desperate need for mental rest. Come exactly as you are, weary, burdened, overwhelmed. All you who are weary and burdened, you qualify for this invitation. Your mental exhaustion isn't too much for Him to handle. Your worry isn't too complicated for Him to understand. Your mind that won't stop racing isn't beyond His ability to calm. I will give you rest. Not you have to earn rest. Not you might find rest if you try hard enough. I will give you rest. This is Jesus' promise to your tired mind. Active, intentional, generous rest that comes as a gift, not a reward. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, let that breath carry away the urgency you've been feeling. The problems you've been trying to solve can wait until tomorrow. The decisions you've been wrestling with don't have to be made tonight. Let your mind begin to slow down, like a spinning wheel gradually coming to rest. You don't have to force your thoughts to stop. Just let them gently wind down as you focus on the rhythm of your breathing. Your anxiety has been stealing your peace, hasn't it? Fear about the future, worry about your ability to handle what's coming, concern about whether you'll have the strength you need when you need it. Your chest might feel tight, your breathing shallow, your body tense with all the what-ifs that have been cycling through your mind. The fear feels so real, so urgent, like you need to stay alert and ready for whatever disaster might be approaching. But constantly living in fear is exhausting your spirit, depleting the very strength you're trying to conserve. Listen to what God promises about your fears. Philippians 4:6-7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Do not be anxious about anything. God isn't minimizing your concerns or telling you they're not real. He's offering you a different way to handle them, a way that leads to peace instead of exhaustion. In every situation, by prayer and petition, to present your requests to God. Take those fears that are keeping you awake, those worries that are consuming your thoughts, and hand them over to God. Not because they're not important, but because they're too important to carry alone. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. The peace God offers isn't dependent on having all your problems solved or all your questions answered. It's supernatural peace that makes no logical sense given your circumstances, but it's real and powerful enough to guard your heart and mind from anxiety. Let your breathing deepen, in through your nose, filling your lungs completely, and out through your mouth, releasing the tension you've been holding. With each exhale, let go of another worry, another fear, another burden you've been carrying. Feel the peace of God beginning to settle over your heart like a warm blanket. You don't have to understand how it works. Just receive it. Let it guard your mind from the anxious thoughts that have been gnawing, stealing your rest. Perhaps you've been having trouble feeling safe enough to truly rest. The world feels uncertain, your circumstances feel unstable, and you're not sure you can afford to let your guard down completely. You want to sleep, but part of you feels like you need to stay vigilant, alert, ready to handle whatever might happen. This hypervigilance is exhausting, but it's also understandable. When you feel weak and vulnerable, it seems dangerous to become even more vulnerable through sleep. You're trying to be your own protector, your own source of security, but listen to this beautiful promise. Psalm 4-8. In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. In peace I will lie down and sleep, not in worry, not in fear, not while mentally rehearsing tomorrow's challenges. In peace. Complete, settled, deep peace that makes rest possible. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. Your safety doesn't depend on your vigilance or the ability to anticipate problems. It depends on God's watchful care over your life. He's the one who keeps you secure, not your anxiety or your alertness. You can let your guard down. You can stop trying to protect yourself through worry. God is awake while you sleep, watching over every detail of your life, guarding what matters to you. Let yourself sink deeper into rest. Feel the weight of your body settling into the surface beneath you. Notice how good it feels to let gravity hold you instead of trying to hold yourself up through tension and worry. Your muscles can relax, starting with your face. Let your jaw unclench, your forehead smooth, your shoulders drop away from your ears. You don't need to hold yourself together tonight. You're being held by something much stronger than your own willpower. You've been trying so hard to maintain control, haven't you? Racing thoughts, endless planning, constant mental activity, all attempts to manage circumstances that are mostly beyond your control anyway. Your mind is exhausted from trying to orchestrate outcomes you can't really influence. There's a profound relief available when you stop trying to control everything and simply trust that God has everything under control. Isaiah 26-3 speaks to this beautifully. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast on you, because they trust in you. Perfect peace. Not partial peace, not temporary peace, but perfect, complete, unshakable peace. And the key to receiving it? A mind that is steadfast on God rather than steadfast on problems, because they trust in you. Trust is the act of transferring responsibility. When you truly trust God with your circumstances, you're no longer responsible for controlling outcomes. You're free to rest while He works. Your mind doesn't have to solve everything tonight. Let your thoughts slow down like a river flowing into a peaceful lake, each thought becoming quieter, more distant, less urgent. You can stop trying to figure it all out. God has everything under control. Your job is simply to rest in that truth. Let your breathing become even slower, even deeper. Feel the peace of God settling over your heart like a gentle mist, covering your fears, soothing your anxieties, quieting your restless thoughts. Your body is growing heavy with relaxation. Feel yourself sinking deeper into peace, deeper into rest. Each breath taking you further from the worries of today and closer to the restorative sleep your soul needs. Isaiah spoke of this kind of rest, this divine quieting of the spirit. Psalm 23, 2-3. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He makes me lie down. You don't have to force yourself to rest. God creates the conditions for rest. He provides the safety, the peace, the permission to let go of your burdens and simply be still. Green pastures, lush, soft, abundant provision. You're not resting in a dangerous place. You're resting in God's abundant care, surrounded by His goodness, protected by His love. Quiet waters, still, peaceful, reflecting the sky above. Let your mind become like those quiet waters, still, peaceful, reflecting God's presence rather than churning with anxiety. He refreshes my soul. This rest isn't just physical, it's spiritual restoration, emotional healing, and mental renewal. God is refreshing every part of you that has been depleted. Your breathing is becoming softer now, more rhythmic, like gentle waves against a peaceful shore, each breath carrying you deeper into rest. Further from the stress of the day, feel yourself being carried by God's strength. You don't have to hold yourself up anymore. You can let go completely, trusting that you are safe, are loved, are watched over. Listen to this final promise, spoken so softly, like a whisper from heaven. Psalm 121 3-4. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. He who watches over you will not slumber. While you rest, God remains alert. While you sleep, He stays awake. You are completely safe to let go, to surrender, to rest fully. He will neither slumber nor sleep. His vigilance never wavers. His protection never fails. His love never sleeps. You can rest in complete confidence, knowing that you are held, are watched over, perfectly safe. Let yourself drift now, like a leaf floating on a gentle stream, carried by currents much stronger than yourself. You don't have to direct your path. You can simply rest and be carried. Your eyelids are growing heavy. Your body is sinking into perfect relaxation. Your mind is becoming quiet and still, like a forest after snowfall, peaceful, silent, at rest. One more promise to carry you into sleep, whispered over you. Blessing. Zephaniah 3:17. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with His love. He will rejoice over you with singing. He will quiet you with His love. Feel that divine quieting settling over you now. His love, like a lullaby, soothing every anxious thought, calming every fear, bringing perfect peace to your weary heart. You are held. You are loved. You are safe. Tomorrow will bring fresh strength, new mercies, renewed hope. But tonight, you can simply rest, knowing that you are cherished, protected, never alone. But before you drift into sleep, let me share a few more promises from Isaiah that will anchor your soul in perfect rest. Isaiah speaks of God's eternal presence in your weakness. Isaiah 57-15. For this is what the high and exalted one says, He who lives forever, whose name is holy. I live in a high and holy place, but also with the one who is contrite and lowly in spirit, to revive the spirit of the lowly and to revive the heart of the contrite. The high and exalted one, who lives forever, chooses to dwell with you in your lowly spirit tonight. He doesn't wait for you to feel strong to come close. He actually moves closer when you feel weak, contrite, in need of revival. To revive the spirit of the lowly. That's you tonight. Lowly doesn't mean worthless. It means humble, honest about your need, stripped of pretense. This is exactly the condition that invites God's reviving presence. Feel that revival beginning now, God's Spirit breathing new life into your weary soul, reviving what felt dead, renewing what felt depleted, restoring what felt broken. And listen to this beautiful promise about your future strength. Isaiah 58:11. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land. Even in the driest seasons of your life, when everything feels barren and harsh, God will satisfy your deepest needs. Your current weakness isn't evidence that God has abandoned you. It's the sun-scorched land where He's about to demonstrate His provision. Will strengthen your frame, your physical body, your emotional capacity, your spiritual resilience. All of it will be strengthened by God's power. The weakness you feel tonight is temporary. Strength is coming to every part of your being. You will be like a well-watered garden. Picture this transformation in your life. Where there's drought now, there will be abundance. Where there's barrenness now, there will be flourishing. Where there's weakness now, there will be verdant strength, like a spring whose waters never fail. The strength God gives you won't be a one-time gift that gets depleted. It will be like a spring, constantly renewed, continuously flowing, inexhaustibly supplied by divine sources. Let this image settle into your heart. You are becoming a well-watered garden in God's hands. Your strength is being renewed like a spring that never runs dry. Even your rest tonight is watering the seeds of tomorrow's strength. Isaiah also promises divine guidance for your weary steps. Isaiah 48:17, Nombus 1. This is what the Lord says, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. I am the Lord your God, who teaches you what is best for you, who directs you in the way you should go, your Redeemer, the one who has brought you back from every failure, every mistake, every moment of weakness. You belong to Him not because you're strong, but because He redeemed you when you were weak. Who teaches you what is best for you? God isn't just giving you strength. He's teaching you through this weakness what you most need to know about His love, His faithfulness, His power. This difficult season is actually divine education, entrusting God's strength over your own. Who directs you in the way you should go? You don't have to figure out your path forward. You don't have to have energy to plan and strategize. God is directing your steps, even the weak ones, even the stumbling ones, toward the destination He has prepared for you. Your breathing is becoming slower now, deeper, more peaceful. Feel yourself being guided by gentle hands through this season of weakness toward the strength that awaits. And here is one of Isaiah's most tender promises for your exhausted heart. Isaiah 46:3-4. 46. Listen to me, you descendants of Jacob, all the remnant of Israel, you whom I have upheld since your birth, and have carried since you were born. Even to your old age and grey hairs I will be the same. I will sustain you. I have made you, and I will carry you. I will sustain you, and I will rescue you. You whom I have upheld since your birth. God has been your strength since before you even knew you needed. Strength. Every breath you've taken, every day you've survived, every challenge you've overcome, it was His strength carrying you even when you thought you were carrying yourself. I will be the same. The God who has strengthened you through every previous season of weakness will be the same God who strengthens you through this one. His character doesn't change. His power doesn't diminish. His love doesn't waver. I have made you and I will carry you. You are not a burden to God. You are His beloved creation. The same hands that formed you will carry you. The same heart that conceived you will sustain you. You are His workmanship, and He will never abandon what He has made. I will sustain you, and I will rescue you. Both promises together, sustaining for the journey and rescue when needed. You're not just surviving by God's grace, you're being sustained and positioned for rescue, for breakthrough, for the strength that will transform your story. Feel yourself being carried now, like a child in loving arms. You don't have to hold yourself together. You don't have to be strong enough for anything. You are being carried by the one who made you. Let me share one more promise that will prepare your heart for the deepest rest. Isaiah 32:2, each one will be like a shelter from the wind and a refuge from the storm, like streams of water in the desert and the shadow of a great rock in a scorching land. This verse speaks of what you will become as God's strength works through your current weakness. Each one will be like a shelter from the wind. Your struggle with weakness tonight is preparing you to become a shelter for others who face similar storms, a refuge from the storm. The strength you're receiving through this difficulty will enable you to provide refuge for others who feel overwhelmed. Your current experience of God's sustaining power is training you to help sustain others, like streams of water in the desert. In dry seasons, you'll carry God's refreshing presence to thirsty souls. The way God is refreshing your spirit tonight will overflow to refresh others who are depleted. The shadow of a great rock in a scorching land, you'll become a place of rest and relief for weary travelers. The rest you're receiving now will multiply into rest for many others. Your weakness tonight has purpose beyond your own restoration. God is preparing you to be His strength in other people's stories. The compassion you're developing through struggle will become healing for wounded hearts. The faith you're building through uncertainty will become encouragement for doubting souls. Rest in this beautiful truth. Your pain is not wasted. Your weakness is being transformed into strength that will strengthen others. Even your sleep tonight is part of God's preparation of your heart to carry His love to a weary world. Now let your breathing become whisper soft, like the gentlest breeze through leaves, each breath carrying away the last remnants of anxiety, each exhale releasing you deeper into peace. Your body is completely relaxed now, heavy with the good tiredness that comes after surrendering burdens you were never meant to carry. Feel yourself sinking into rest like sinking into the warm embrace of perfect love. The thoughts that were racing have slowed to a gentle drift, like clouds moving slowly across a peaceful sky. You don't need to chase them or fight them. Just watch them float by as you rest in the stillness of God's presence. Your heart rate is slowing, steady, and calm, beating in rhythm with the peace of God. Each heartbeat a reminder that you are alive, you are loved, you are held by the one who never sleeps. Listen to this final blessing from Isaiah, whispered over you like a lullaby. Isaiah 54:10. Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken, nor my covenant of peace be removed, says the Lord, who has compassion on you. Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, even if everything that seems permanent and solid in your world shifts and changes, there is one constant that will never move. My unfailing love for you will not be shaken. God's love for you is more permanent than mountains, more solid than hills, more reliable than anything you can see or touch. Your weakness cannot shake it. Your struggles cannot diminish it. Your fears cannot threaten it. Nor my covenant of peace be removed. The peace God has made with you through His love is unbreakable. It's not dependent on your strength or your performance. It's sealed by His character and His choice to love you unconditionally, says the Lord, who has compassion on you. Compassion, not just love, but tender, understanding love that sees your pain and moves to comfort it. He has compassion on your weakness, your weariness, your need for strength. This compassion is what motivates all of His promises to you. Feel that unfailing love surrounding you now like the most comfortable blanket, wrapping around your heart, covering your fears. warming your spirit. Feel the covenant of peace settling over you like a canopy of protection. Nothing can disturb this peace because it comes from God Himself. It's yours to rest in, yours to sleep in, yours forever. You are completely safe now, completely loved, completely at peace. The God who has compassion on you is watching over every moment of your rest, breathing strength into you while you sleep, preparing new mercies for tomorrow. Let yourself sleep now, in the perfect peace of knowing you are God's beloved child, watched over by the one who never sleeps, strengthened even in your rest by the God who calls you His own. Your eyelids are heavy with sacred tiredness, your breathing is soft and slow, your body is at complete rest, your heart is at perfect peace. Sleep, sleep in the unfailing love that will not be shaken. Rest in the covenant of peace that cannot be removed. You are held, you are loved, you are safe. You can rest now. Rest, rest. You are safe to rest now.